Dave, when you look at your guys and having played a game in this series now and watched a game of the Toronto series, can you speak to the appreciation of how special it is to be involved in a once in a lifetime Canadian Division playoffs?
Well, I've said it since the start of the year. It's an unbelievable opportunity. It was. I thought the players, the emotion in the players, and the appreciation for the players for the tradition of the game in Canada was excellent. The only thing it was really missing, I've said all along, if you could have this division with the fans there every night, it would be incredible. So we miss the fans, but it is a once in a lifetime, especially for guys that have been in the league a long time. To have the ability to play in a division like this is very exciting, and I think the players have felt the same way.
Now it hasn't changed a lot for you in terms of you're still walking across the catwalk to the rink and everything, I assume.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you get any sense at all of a difference between the playoff atmosphere out there in the bubble and this year?
Well, the only emotion or the fan appeal you get is there was a lineup of about 100 cars there beeping horns before the last game. So you get the people are excited. You know they're there. You just don't get to see them. But it's probably was a little less in the bubble in the summer. It was I think things were locked down pretty hard. But right now there's still the emotion. People care, and the players sense that. You wish they were in the arena with us, but you know that the emotion and the city is following us very closely and passionately.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Chad.
Dave, all season long, you and the coaching staff have maintained a very even keel. How important is it to, show sort of that confidence in maintaining that same sort of thought process and not making a bunch of changes to the lineup, especially when factoring in, even though you didn't get the end result, territorially from the second period on, you guys had some pretty good things going.
No, I think you're right. And the fact that we haven't been up and down, we address things that we think we need to improve from night to night. And you're always trying to accentuate the positives. But our players have stayed pretty even keel. Like there was parts of the game the other night that we thought we did some things well. There's a couple little things that we want to make sure that we can do better. But that being said, we want to go out and play our game and find the better results. So it's a tight series. It's playoff hockey. Everybody knows that. But our group. I like the way our mindset's been yesterday and this morning. We had a little meeting about a few things. And our group, we feel like we're a confident group. We want to go out and play our game and see what happens.
Do you envision returning with the same lineup for tonight's game from the last game?
Yeah, we'll come back with the same lineup.
Thank you.
Jason Greger, TSN 1260.
Dave, you're not one to panic. It's only one game. You track a lot of your own scoring chances. You had mentioned you thought it was kind of a cautious game on both sides. So what do you feel is the areas that your team needs to be more assertive in tonight and less cautious?
Well, we need to finish some of our opportunities. I thought we got some pucks to the net well. We had people at the net well, but you got to find ways to capitalize on some chances. There's a couple other little tweaks that we got to make sure we're have in order, but for the most part, I think it was just early series jitters, and once we got by that early in the game, that we were fine.
Is jitters the best explanation for maybe like the passes we saw that were just kind of off just a little bit, where it looked like you had a chance, and then the guy would put a pass in someone's skates or something? So is that more jitters than anything else, or is there a way to eliminate that?
Probably a little bit. No, you just got to be sharp. That happens. You go game to game like that in the regular season too. It just happens that pucks bouncing. Sometimes there's an old saying, sometimes as good as you want to be, the game doesn't let you be good. And whether a puck's bouncing or just timing of it just doesn't go. So some nights it doesn't go your way. You got to have the ability to turn it around the next time you play.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
A couple of things, Dave. The first round of the playoffs, you've coached a long time, is usually the most unpredictable. So a lot of teams that are not the home team win in the first game of the playoffs. Is that the way you look at it? I mean, everybody's so excited to play. There's the unpredictability in the first round, and the excitement is a little different as you go along.
Yeah,
deeper into the
I would agree with the first round. There's lots, everybody's excited to play, everybody's get going. You got teams that are, they fight hard to get in the playoffs, and they get in, they go with momentum. But I would say it's probably a little bit less this year, especially in Canada without fans. I mean, I know the Toronto lost last night, we lost the first game, but I would say they're both just real competitive game. I don't know if the venue had much to do with it.
And in the playoffs, the whole idea of scoring off the rush, does that disappear in the playoffs? I mean, you can do it in the regular season where there's 2-on-1s and guy goes end to end. You coached the guy again a long time. You almost don't see that. No, I mean, teams just say.
I don't know if it disappears. You watch games night in, night, you're seeing still lots of 2-on-1s. You see that Florida series, there's chances all over the place. So it all depends. I think there's times when mistakes are made or a puck bounces and you get chances, but teams tend to play a harder, a more disciplined style. You're not giving anything away, and teams are rested. There's not a fatigue factor. There's lots of elements that come into it. The games just tighten up. That's playoff style. So if you're tightening up, you're not giving out outnumbered breaks. There's things like that come into play. That aspect of it gets accentuated more once you get into the playoffs.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
So you put the razor down. Can we look forward to the return of that Dave Tippett Hartford Whalers mustache before the playoffs?
Yeah, my wife had said there was a few people asking about that, so I decided to change it up this year. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys scored, like everyone's been talking the last 2 nights about how you score goals differently in the playoffs. So you scored a bunch of goals all year long, sort of a certain way. And I know you get some tips and stuff, but generally you score some nice, pretty goals that maybe aren't there right now. Is playoff experience coming into play here where you need to settle for less, not try to pass it into the net, maybe don't score the pretty goal as much as this team did all year?
No, I'll take all the pretty goals we can get. I want both of them. I want both. I want to be greedy. I want pretty goals and the ugly goals. We'll take all we can get right now. So if somebody wants to have a pretty goal, I'm good with that. If somebody wants to grind one in the net or deflect it in the net, I'm good with that too.
Okay, thank you.
Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
I think that might be.
Hi, Dave. Obviously a scary incident last night with Jonathan Tavares.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what your thoughts on that was. And as a coach, how tough is it to kind of refocus after a teammate like that goes down and get your team back to playing again?
Well, it's never easy to see that, and I'm sure they're very concerned about the injury, the severity of the injury, but it's, that was an accident. That's one of those things that you hate to see happen, but unfortunately does on occasion, and, you just hope the player is all right. But it is, especially, Tavares means a lot to that team. He's their team captain. He's got a lot of support in there, so that team would be, that would shake them a little bit, but, in the playoffs, you got to get by that and get going again. So tough to see that. Tough to see a player, get hurt like that. But hopefully he's all right. But I think it does affect your team a little bit. You got to find a way to get by it and get going.
Thanks, Dave.
Ryan Rashog, TSN.
Bit of a fishing expedition here, Dave. You said you were going to dress the same lineup. Does that mean that you will return the same lines to start as well, or could we see some adjustments?
Sometimes when you go fishing, you catch fish, and sometimes you don't. No fish today for you.
All right, fair enough. We'll try again after this one.
Rob Chichkowski, Post Media.
Sorry. Talking about the in-game energy that a team would normally get in a normal playoff building, where does that come from now? And is that something that you guys have to be mindful of on the bench?
I don't think I think you notice a little bit at the start when you come out, but once the game gets going, it's you're all in the game. So you miss the the noise and the emotion that would bring with it, but ultimately the players are so dialed in now. I think they're used to it, or it's not a factor right now. But You know, it is interesting when you watch the games on TV, you see those stadiums with fans in them. I don't know if it's just because you're watching on TV, you get more noise from it. It sounds more real than the piped-in noise. So it's, but I think the players understand what's at stake. There's emotion in the game, but it's just not magnified by the fans.
Perfect, thank you.